Hello everyone, Aviation Cadet Sabisha here for my channel Aviation Cadet 9936, and today we'll focus on Air Flight 171 of Air India that got crashed on June 12th, 2025. A few more updates. I'm a Pakistani and the flight is Indian. It seems very odd that why a Pakistani is talking about the Indian aircraft. No, the aviation world is a whole family. It doesn't need boundaries, just like the music. And the issues that are among two countries, conflict among two countries. Yeah, I have my own opinion about that. But once it comes to the aviation world, I think we should stand with the righteous ones. And in this case, I totally exonerate the pilots that it was any of their mistakes until it is 100% proven. Right now, the TikTokers, the foreign TikTokers, they are spreading bad things about these pilots, those two brave men who could do whatever they could under those circumstances. So I'm gonna stand by with them. I will stand up for them until someone can come up with the theories against them. So no, I don't buy that SHIT by all these people who are declaring them nutcases, like Captain Steve declared them psychos. Very shameful act of him. And the own Indian, Mr. Mohan, who was on Jeffrey Thomas' show, and he was speaking for the pilots, and then all of a sudden he just comes up and says there is a suicide.
Technical reason why somebody would switch off the control switch.
Like I said, they've been, you know what happened to German Wings or Egypt Air or MH370 or Silk Air? There have been instances worldwide of a pilot suicide. And this, to me, appears like one.
It's a suicidal. Come on. A suicidal person does not relight the engine. Once he's done, he's done. He wants to get down with it. He's going to roll the aircraft down. He's going to pitch it down. He's going to throw it anywhere he can. He's not going to relight the engine, so please cut the crap. Although this report, mark my words, would declare them psychopath. Why? Because at the beginning of the report, it says very clearly that they also have talked to the people around the world and also the psychiatrists and the doctors. It's just making up the stories. I will make another video on the similarities between PK8303 and this whole the media leakages and stuff like that. And even the renowned pilots from India are not allowed to, poke their noses into the investigation, which no one knows who's conducting, because there's no signatures, no signs, nothing, no names that who made this report. But the foreign TikTokers, they claim that they have been in touch. They have been in touch with the people who are making the reports. So
unofficially, several people who are close to the investigation have also been in touch with both of us.
In the report. So this is very unfair and injustice, especially releasing out a few things out and trying to malign the pilots. It's not maligning them. Now you're humiliating them. You already blame them, accuse them of something which you are still not sure, and yet you are blaming them. Now you are humiliating them by spreading these rumors of that they had mental problems. And one of them were suicidal because he had separation issues. What the heck? The main captain, he was even unmarried, and he was so devoted with his dad and stuff like that. His dad is 90 years of age, and imagine a dad at that age taking his son's funeral back to the place. So I will stand by the pilots. Now, all these TikTokers, they were saying that, Boeing 787-8 is one of the most wonderful machines in the world, and no dual engine failure can happen. It's one of the 100 billion. Shut up. There is an incident of the Air Japan in 2019 that had 787-8 dual engine failure. Okay, and everyone was trying to hide that one, and then Burkhadat, Captain Sam Thomas, and all other guys who are standing for the pilots, they came up with that one. So I'm going to disclose that one for my viewers. This is incident ANA B788 at Osaka on January 17, 2019. Both engines rolled back after landing. You see the news wording is chosen. Rolled back. What the heck does that mean? That means engine failure, period. They roll back for, okay, let's go on. So, and ANA, All Nippon Airways, Boeing 7878, registration Julia Alpha 825 Alpha, performing flight November Hotel 905 from Tokyo Haneda to Osaka, Itami, Japan, with 109 passengers, 9 crew, landing on Itami's runway 321. Touchdown, the crew deployed the thrust reversers with both engines, Trent 1000, rolled back and shut down. The aircraft rolled out with further incident came to a stop about 2450 meters, or about 8,030 feet down the runway, and was disabled. The aircraft refused to go off the runway. It just stopped. And they had to tow the aircraft out. Now, so this incident has happened. Now, what has happened here? So if you go to Aviation Herald, you can see the report of this whole incident, and I will just read one of the lines. Okay, a dual engine failure on ANA flight NH985 occurred after landing at Osaka, Itami on January 17, 2019. Shortly after touchdown, the pilots engaged the thrust reversers, but the aircraft hadn't completed its transition into ground mode. Now that is very important. The Boeing 787's protective system, TCMA, called thrust control malfunction accommodation, interpreted this as potentially dangerous, uncommanded high thrust. As a result, TCMA automatically shut down both Rolls-Royce Trent 1000 engines to prevent a possible incident. The TCMA is active only if the ground is on the ground, if the aircraft is on the ground, and if the transition to ground mode wasn't completed. TCMA entered into loop by shutting down both engines. Now let's keep it to a side, iPad away, and now let's talk about that one. So all the aircrafts, they have two modes because of these computer systems. One is the ground mode and one is the airborne mode. There are some restrictions the aircraft doesn't allow to be happen on the ground. And once you do the same things in the air, it allows it, okay? For example, gears up. Once the sensors of the aircraft feel that you are on the ground, even if you get the gears up, they're not gonna go up because the system is gonna prevent. Because on the ground, you don't need the gears up unless you're airborne. So same aircraft, once it takes off and it gets into the airborne mode, now that's the time when if you put the gears up, it is gonna get the gears up because now it's in airborne mode. So it always switches from the ground mode to the airborne mode. Transitions, okay? It transitions itself from one mode to another and backwards. So while this Air Japan was landing down, and it was in the airborne mode, right? Once it touched down, now it starts to, because of the sensors in the aircraft, they let it know that now you're on the ground, so it switches back to the ground mode. So while it was being transitioned into ground mode, it wasn't in the airborne mode, it wasn't in the ground mode, it was in between somewhere. How long does it take? God knows. But now, once the reverse thrusters were applied, now the FADEC thinks that, oh, maybe I'm on the ground, and that's too much of the power given into me. And on the ground, imagine if you give 100% power while taxiing, what's going to happen? You're going to bump into all the other aircrafts, and it avoids that. So that's why once you're lined up on the runway, slowly you input 40%, and then you push the toga button, and that's how it goes gradually to 100%, and that's your takeoff roll happens. But on taxiways, same FADEC. It prevents that to happen. So we have an example of an aircraft landing down and FADEC thought that something wrong happened and it rolled the engines back. Now, reverse it. Once it's at the takeoff position, it's going to take off. It has to transition from ground mode to airborne mode. And during this transition, if anything the aircraft feels is not right, not up to the standards, what it's going to do, it's going to roll back the engines. And how do you roll back the engines? The FADEC itself is going to cut off the supply to the engine, fuel supply to the engine. So it doesn't need to get those toggle switches down or up, or the positions of those things. You will keep people, these again, the foreign TikTokers are saying those things. It's an electronic signal, so FADEC needs to give that electronic signal to the valves of the aircraft, and the supply is going to be stopped. And that's exactly what has happened. Where as soon as it got into airborne conditions, right away there was something wrong, and it sent the signal, and fuel supply was cut. That's why the pilot 1 asked pilot 2, "Why did you cut off?" I didn't, right? Because if the suicidal person cuts it off, and let's suppose he's pretending, he won't ask him. He doesn't need any cockpit voice recorder, sounds or proofs. He's dying. He would never say like that. And then a suicidal pilot would come up and start relighting the engine. "Oh, in 10 seconds, my whole life has been changed. Now I want to live." And the God says, "No, die." So this doesn't happen. Whatever happened, and it's really salute to them that within 10 seconds, because the recovery was applied right after 10 seconds, right? Once this thing happened, because the timeline is already given. So within 10 seconds, I've seen the simulation of Airbus 321. Once if you cut off the fuel supply right after 3 seconds after takeoff, the whole cockpit starts to scream, man. I mean, ding, 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 boom, 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 boom. It was just like a beatbox going on. And these pilots hold their nerves and not only relight engine 1, but also tried on engine 2. It didn't work. That's another issue. Again, this is not a pilot's error. Miscalculation, okay? If they could have realized that in 2 or 3 seconds away, or that tall building was not there, probably they would have saved everyone. But please do not blame the pilots. This is ridiculous. And now you're humiliating them. Shame on those people. Those who are saying that he was suicidal, and some of them are saying that they were psychopaths or blah, blah, blah. The people who, these are the people who were saying, "Oh, flaps up." He put the flaps up and engine got failed. This person should be put in, he shouldn't be allowed even to sit on the planes as a passenger even, I'm talking about Captain Steve, and the other one, the vapor lock guy. No crap. These people, really, they should be ashamed of what they are talking about a fellow pilot. One day the same thing could happen to you. Trust me. It's karma, and karma is a bitch. And that's my 2 cents, and my support goes to these 2 Indian pilots who within 10 seconds actually took their nerves and actually did relight the engine. And those who are saying that dual engine failure cannot happen, go read a book now. Go back to kindergarten. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.